So I have my chopper here, and the question is, what do you do when you first get a project that's left over from someone else for like 15 years? I needed to put this frame here, a pair of wheels that don't have hubs, an engine, and a box of parts. See here I've got fork legs, but I didn't have triple trees, so that's one reason I decided to go to a Springer. I have two different front fenders, which I don't think I'm going to use. There's the belt for the primary, and that looks like the front clutch lever. So I have all these parts that I got with the bike. Some I'll use, some I won't, but the question was, well, where do I start? I've got my S&S 113 Evo, which has never been started. And I've actually taken a peek inside of there, and it's looking good so far. I'll have to install it, run it for a bit, and see if everything's okay with it, which it should be. And then I got a set of wheels that have no hubs, and I call these Miami Vice wheels because it looks like something would be out of Miami Vice in the 90s. Not keeping those, so I've actually already got the new rims. And then this is the frame, which is a Freddy's Frames from 2001. It's a custom frame out of Freddie Hernandez's shop in Southern California. I have the MSO, but I have no idea any of the measurements on it. I believe the neck is around 38 degrees. So I have all this stuff here, and I was thinking, how do I get started? Now I have prepped. I've added my tools. I've got a grinder over there, and I primarily got that to sharpen the bits for the lathe I bought that I have to learn how to use. So I've never used it, or never used the lathe before till recently, so I'm starting to learn that because I want to try to make some parts, as many as I can. I have my bandsaw, which is behind me. And then, with the help of a friend, I've actually built this table to build the chopper on. So instead of getting a regular motorcycle lift for hundreds of dollars, this is leftover wood from my deck from last spring. So we just cut this up and made it out of that. So one of the first things I did was take a laser level and shoot it down the bike so I could find the center line of the bike to line everything up, as I was trying to verify that this 240 tire here is the proper size for the bike. So I hooked it up behind me on the garage door and shot it down the middle of the bike, and I've marked the bike. So you can see here, I've got a horizontal and vertical mark on here. I've actually got the seat tube, I guess you call it, on this. I've got that marked so I know where the center of it is, and all the way down the top tube I have it marked. So you can see here there's an offset to the frame. This is not quite perfectly centered right now, even though I did mark it up. But so this offset is for the belt or chain, and I plan to run the chain. But I did verify that the 240 appears to be will fit back here. If I go any smaller, it won't look right. I've got the brake that came with it on here. As you can see, there's no hub, so this is not really spaced right. One of the things I ran into is this brake mount setup is awfully close to the rim, depending exactly where the new rim and tires sit. So I have to make sure that I space this out correctly so it doesn't hit, or I may have to trim this back some. But I have to figure this out. I've never seen this setup before, so I'll have to figure that out. I also have to figure out how to adjust this, where the only screws from the front. So I got to find the right axle adjusters that go with this type of frame setup. And then the other thing, I was doing that to verify the size of the tire that I'm going to put on here so I can order the correct size rim. I didn't want to assume that whoever bought this had ordered the correct size, so I'm double checking whatever they did. And then I ended up building this fork here because ordering the Springer to have that made for the bike required providing some measurements. So since I didn't have triple trees for those fork legs over there, I ended up building this, and I didn't know the stance I wanted. So building this and its setup is, this allowed me to find where the bottom frame rails over here are sitting level. And then this first hole is, I call it 0, which is the frame rails level. And then this one's 3 inches. This one's 5 inches. This one's 7, and this one is 9. So by doing that, I was able to figure out how I wanted the bike to sit, which this is set at the 7 position, and this is the stance I want for the bike. Now you could see under here, I'll tell you guys, that those are the rims. But the first thing you guys are going to see after this will be the fork. And it's a Springer fork that's made for this bike. And to the setting of the 7, whatever that, if it's 7 over, or I don't know what the stock size would actually be, but it's 7 over from what my figuring is. So I'm waiting on that. I should have that probably, hopefully, in the next couple weeks. It's probably just delayed because that one, actually, I'll tell you, it's a chrome Springer, so it's probably being delayed because it has to be sent out for chroming. So I'll get that, I'll mount that up, then I'm gonna go ahead and mount these tires on the new rims, and then I have to set up the brakes, which I actually have new brake brackets, front and rear, and some new brake calipers. So I'll have to do all that and the wheel spacing on that when all that gets in. But this is where I've decided to start, and hopefully I'm on the right track. Since I've never built a chopper, I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. I'll get all that set up. Then I think what I'm going to do is a rear fender, and maybe handlebars, and then the seat. Then I'll work on the gas tank, might be last because I have to figure out clearances between the seat and the handlebars. But like always, I build as I go, so if I'm not on the right track, I'll probably adjust as I'm doing it. So if you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. Later.